Let me ask you something. If I told you that right now, in 2026, you could own a 3-bedroom home with a garage and a backyard for under $280,000, would you believe me? Because that's not a fantasy. That's what's actually happening in Waterville, Maine and the surrounding Central Maine region. And today, I'm pulling back the curtain on every single cost of living category: housing, groceries, utilities, taxes, healthcare, and I'm going to compare it head to head against the national average. My name is Jeff Jolicoeur. I'm the team leader at Surette Real Estate right here in Central Maine, and I've helped literally hundreds of families make the move in and around this region. So I'm not just going to give you numbers from a spreadsheet. I'm going to give you the real picture, the good, the honest, and the stuff nobody else is telling you about living here in 2026. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what your dollar is worth in Central Maine. And honestly, I think you're going to be pretty surprised. Let's start with the biggest line item in anyone's budget: housing, because this is where Central Maine absolutely stands out. The national median home price in 2026 is hovering $420,000 to $430,000. In Waterville, Maine, and the immediate surrounding communities, Winslow, Fairfield, Oakland, Sydney, you're looking at a median somewhere in the $250,000 to $310,000 range, depending on the property type. That is a significant gap. We're talking roughly 25 to 35% below the national median. And compared to places like Portland, Maine, where the median is pushing $500,000 to $550,000, or southern New Hampshire or Massachusetts, Central Maine looks like a completely different universe. So what does $300,000 actually get you in Waterville? In the $250,000 to $300,000 range in Central Maine, you are regularly seeing 3-bedroom, 1.5 to 2 full bath homes with a yard, often a garage or detached barn, and sometimes acreage. That is not a starter home in this market. It is a real home. Now, let's put that in context. That same $300,000 in Portland, Maine might get you a condo. In Boston, don't even think about it. In Manchester, New Hampshire, maybe a small townhouse with HOA fees. The purchasing power difference is real, and it's dramatic. And if you push up into the $350,000 to $450,000 range, now we're talking larger acreage properties, updated kitchens, master suites, properties that in most New England could be a $500,000 conversation. What about renting? The average rent for a 2-bedroom apartment in Waterville is currently running $1,100 to $1,400 a month. The national average range for a 2-bedroom is closer to $1,700 to $1,900. So even renters who are testing the waters here are coming out ahead compared to most of the country. All right, let's move to the day-to-day living, groceries, because the mortgage is one thing, but it's the weekly Hannaford run that really adds up. Maine's grocery costs are slightly above the national average. We're talking maybe 3 to 5% higher, mostly due to the transportation costs of getting goods to a more rural state. But here's what I want you to understand. That difference is very small compared to what you're saving everywhere else. A gallon of milk in Waterville, roughly $3.50 to $4. A dozen eggs? Depending on the week, you're in the $3 to $4.50 range. Ground beef, chicken, basic staples, all very comparable to the national average. Gas prices in Maine tend to track close to the national average, sometimes a few cents above in the summer tourist season. But you know what offsets that? The fact that most commutes here are short. You're not sitting in Boston traffic burning $60 of gas a week to go 12 miles. Central Maine is a region where a 20-minute commute is considered a long drive. Think about what that does to your quality of life and your gas budget. Now, here's where I want to be completely honest with you, because I'm not here to sell you a fantasy. I'm here to give you the real picture. And the real picture on utilities in Maine has a catch. Maine winters are real. They are not a joke. And heating a home here, whether you're using oil, propane, natural gas, a wood stove, or a heat pump, is a genuine budget line item that people moving from the south or the southwest sometimes underestimate. Average home heating costs in Central Maine can run $1,500 to $3,000 per winter, depending on your heating source, the age of the home, and how well it's insulated. Newer homes with heat pumps are doing much better. Older, oil-heated homes without insulation upgrades can be expensive. Here's the number one mistake people make when budgeting their move to Maine. They forget to budget for heating, and it can cost them thousands of dollars in the first winter. So factor it in. Ask your agent. Ask me what the heating source is for any home you're considering. Now the flip side. Electric bills in the summer are very reasonable. No AC wars, no $400 electric bills in August. Maine summers are genuinely beautiful, and you're not paying to survive them the way people in Texas or Arizona might be. And water and sewer? In a municipality like Waterville, you're looking at a very normal utility cost. Nothing shocking there. Taxes. Let's talk about it, because this is the area where Maine does not always win the affordability comparison. And I want to be upfront with you about that. Maine has a graduated state income tax that tops out at 7.15% for higher earners. The average earner, 50 to 80,000 range, is looking at a rate of around 6 to 7%. That's not the most competitive income tax in the country. Property taxes in the Waterville area run roughly $15 to $20 per thousand of assessed value, depending on the municipality. So, on a $280,000 home, you might be paying $4,200 to $5,600 in annual property taxes. That is actually very manageable compared to the markets like New Jersey or Connecticut, or even parts of New Hampshire. Maine does have a homestead exemption that can reduce your burden if this is your primary residence. Worth knowing. Worth asking about. People always ask me, is Maine a high tax state? And the honest answer is, it depends entirely on what you're comparing it to and what you're getting in return for those taxes. Compare Maine to Massachusetts, Connecticut, or New Jersey. Maine wins on property taxes easily. Compare Maine to New Hampshire or Florida. New Hampshire and Florida have no income tax, so Maine loses that comparison. But here's what Maine taxes are buying you. Some of the cleanest air and water in the country, a lower cost of living on housing that more than offsets the tax burden for most families, excellent public land access, and frankly, a quality of life that money in a city often cannot buy. My take? When you do the full math, lower housing costs, lower rent, reasonable property taxes, and no sales tax on groceries, Maine is a genuinely competitive state for overall affordability. You just have to do the full math, not just the income tax headline. Quick note on healthcare. Maine has MaineCare, the state's Medicaid expansion, and the ACA marketplace options here are reasonable. Maine General Medical Center in Augusta and Reddington Fairview in Skowhegan are just a short drive from Waterville. Access to care is solid for a semi-rural region. Waterville also has Thayer Hospital for outpatient services. Healthcare costs vary dramatically based on your employer situation and personal health, so I won't put a specific number on this. But Maine is not an outlier in the negative way here. Average to slightly below average for healthcare costs in the Northeast. Education. Waterville has public schools, Colby College, one of the top liberal arts colleges in the country, and Thomas College, a well-respected business school, right here in the city. That brings cultural programming events and a vitality to downtown Waterville that you don't typically find in a city of this size. And Maine's public university system provides affordable in-state tuition options. All right, you've got the numbers. Now let me tell you what the numbers don't show, because this is what I hear from every single family that makes the move to Central Maine. They tell me that they can breathe here. There's less noise and chaos. They tell me that the drive to work is 12 minutes instead of an hour. They tell me their kids play outside. They tell me they can see the stars at night. They tell me that they feel like people here actually know them. I had a client, a family from outside Boston. They moved to Waterville and they called me 3 months later after the closing. Not about real estate, just to tell me that their commute went from 68 minutes to 11 minutes. Their stress levels were way down and they were really appreciating the slower pace of life. The numbers matter. The housing cost matters. The tax rate matters. So does the hour you get back every morning. So does the feeling of being in a community where people actually know your name. That is a real part of the cost of living conversation, and it never shows up in a spreadsheet. The people moving to Central Maine in 2026 are coming from Portland, from Massachusetts, from New Hampshire, from California, from Florida, and from New York. Some are remote workers who realize they no longer need to be near a city. Some are retirees who are tired of maintaining a big property in an expensive market. Some are growing families who need more space without a crushing mortgage and value the vast outdoor recreational activities that Maine provides. And what they find here is a region that is genuinely on the rise. Waterville has seen real downtown revitalization, driven in part by Colby College. The Belgrade Lakes region attracts high-quality buyers from all over New England. The outdoor recreation, hiking, skiing, fishing, kayaking, is world-class and essentially free in many places. So let me give you the honest answer to the question I promised to answer. Is Central Maine affordable in 2026? Yes, compared to the national average. Yes, compared to most of New England. Absolutely yes, compared to Portland, Maine, by a significant margin. It is not perfect. Heating costs are real, income tax are real, Maine winters require a mental adjustment if you're coming from someplace warm. But the core components of a good life, a home you can actually own, a community that values you, outdoor beauty that is truly extraordinary, and a cost of living that gives you room to breathe. Central Maine has all of that. If you're sitting in a high cost living area, grinding out living in a home that doesn't fit your life, wondering if there's another way, I want you to seriously consider running the numbers on Central Maine because I think you're going to be surprised. And if you want help running those numbers, that's literally what I do. I help people figure out what their life could look like here. I've done it over 100 times. I'd love to do it for you. If you're thinking about a move to Central Maine, or if you're already here and you're thinking about upsizing, downsizing, or making a change, I want to be your first call. Not because I want to sell you something, but because I genuinely believe that the right information at the right time changes people's lives. You can reach me at 649-6893. You can explore listings and resources at surette-realestate.com. And if you found this video useful, please share it. Drop it in a Facebook group. Text it to a friend who's been talking about making a move. This is the kind of information that actually helps people make better decisions. If you have questions about specific neighborhoods, property types, or what the market is doing right now, drop them in the comments below. I read every one, and I answer them. My name is Jeff Jolicoeur with the Surette Real Estate Team. Thanks for spending this time with me, and I'll see you at the next one.